Hey there, I'm Tristan. It's good to have you here today in this lesson. So I'm just going to take this tune down into three parts. We've got the intro guitar solo, and the chord progression and strumming during the verses and choruses. So on the intro, what we'll do is we'll just prepare a 4-finger G chord like this. Okay, so our pinky and our ring finger are going to stay planted on fret 3 throughout the whole intro. Okay, it's going to allow us to do some nice chord strumming while we play the melody underneath. Okay, so the first note is a low G. Even though this note did get cut off in the original recording, we're going to play it today. So we got a low G, open A, hammer on to fret 2, which is a B note, open D, and then fret 2 of that string, which is an E. Okay, so there's G, A, B, D, E. So just think about that whole first phrase as coming out of this G chord. Okay, when you land that last E there, we're going to strum through and play this chord, which is called the E minor 7. And the strum will be down, up, up. Down, up, up. Okay? And then E, G, E, D. Prepare your G chord. That was down, up, low bass, down. All of the strumming, you're basically going to aim for just your 3 treble strings, the G, B, and E strings. Okay? So again, I'll back up to the beginning. Thing will repeat. Okay, so you may notice as I'm playing my single note lines, I'm using what's called a rest stroke. Okay, so what that means is with my pick, pushing through the string and resting very briefly on the string below it. Okay, kind of a bluegrass technique. What this allows us to do is to have a nice full loud tone in our single note lines, and then when we play the chord, we just kind of feather that. So it adds a nice contrast, sounds very musical. So that's what we just did. It repeats. Here's where it changes. We're going to walk down the scale. E, D, B, open A, and then prepare our third chord, which is called the A7 sus4. Okay, it goes like that. So open A, E, open G, and then of course ring finger and pinky holding down the fourth there to play your high D and high G. It's your A7 sus4. Okay, so the strumming on this part, tried to get this as close to the recording as I could. From what I hear, it sounds like this: open A. And then the chord is down, up, A. It's the first half of that measure. And then up, down, up. Okay, so a little tricky. Again, A, down, up, A, up, down, up. Okay, then lead into the next phrase. Open A string, hammer on. Open D, E. Walk down, do that A7 sus4 again, and then we'll close out the whole thing with this: open A, hammer on, open D, and then open G. I like to play this with an up pick, so I can swing back around and play a full G chord at the end there. Okay, so that whole intro uses what's called the G major pentatonic scale, and the solo that I'm going to show you now uses that same scale, but it uses the upper register. Okay, so it's a good idea just to know this scale. It shows up in so many songs. So the lower part is G, A, B, D, E, and G. Okay, so that should all be familiar. All right, the next part goes like this: G, A, B, D, E, and high G. But what David Gilmour does in this solo that's so cool is a lot of these notes he'll play on the fretboard, okay, meaning not using open strings. So instead of this B, he'll play this B here on fret 4 of the G string. Okay, instead of playing this open E string, he'll play fret 5 of the B string and play the E there. Okay, so the whole solo uses this upper register of the major pentatonic scale. So I'm just going to break it down just kind of one phrase at a time, and I encourage you to really take your time with this and just repeat each phrase a lot so you can really get it in your fingers and in your ears. Okay, this is just great vocabulary that you can use in creating your own solos. Okay, so here's the first phrase. Very slow slide from A to B. Okay, so we have a lot of technique going on there. We got a slide. We've got this kind of toggling back and forth between the B and the G strings. One thing I recommend is basically anytime you're playing the B string, use an up pick, and that'll free you to bring your pick back around and play the notes you need to on the G. Okay, so those that series of pull-offs here, the trick to pull-offs is you want to prepare each finger ahead of time. Okay, so as you see, I've got my ring finger down on this B note, and then I have my index finger already ready, so when I pull off, it'll sound, and then I pull off again. It's all one fluid motion. Open D. Little slide here on fret 1 of the A. Okay, so again. Okay, the next phrase has these things called double stops. All right, goes like this. Okay, so you make a little mini bar with your index finger on fret 3 of the high E and B strings, and then you slide up to fret 5, and then slide back. Okay, and you do a similar motion on the next 2 strings, only you'll have to use your index and your middle. They'll be spread out 1 fret apart. Pull off. The last 2 notes will come on to the next string set, G and D, D and G strings, fret 5 and 4. Okay, it's kind of a tricky little lick there. You can really hear him in the recording, like shaking those notes and giving it all that vibrato, and he kind of like falls off and slides like that. Okay, the next one. Similar to the very first. Then we have what's called a pre-bend. Okay, so I'm on fret 5, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this string up just a little bit before I pluck it. Then I'm going to play it and then have it fall back down. Like that. Followed by some more bends. Your choice if you want to bend down towards the floor or up. Okay, next line. It's just a regular bend, not a pre-bend, but. And then. And finally G. Okay, that brings us into the verse. All right, so a lot of stuff in there. Take your time. Just play the heck out of it. Okay, so on the verse and chorus, here's a strum pattern that I believe works pretty well. Okay, we're gonna go down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. Okay, so this tune's pretty slow. It's like around 60 beats per minute or so. So this would be a good opportunity to work on your 16th note strumming. Okay, so if you were to see this written out, and actually I'll put it on the screen, you're going to see 2 eighth notes, down, down, followed by 4 16ths, down, up, okay, and then just repeat that. the count on that would be 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and okay. I don't know if you need to get that heady with it, but that's all that's going on. So do that on your G chord when you get ready for the first verse. Okay, then the vocals start. We've got this chord that's called a C over G. Okay, and then we'll just follow that strum pattern. So that strum pattern is gonna work, and each chord is gonna play out for a full bar. Okay, so C, and then D over F sharp, which you play like this. Okay, so regular D chord, but your thumb reaches over and grabs fret 2 of the low E string, which is an F sharp, kind of mutes the A string. So if any of these chords are a little just too awkward for you, you can totally just play just a regular D, play a regular C. Okay, but he definitely plays these inversions of these chords. Okay, so they're good to learn. So D over F sharp, A minor, D over F sharp again, C over G, A minor, and finally back to G. We'll do the whole thing again. So C over G, down, 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 up, down, up, D over F sharp, A minor, F sharp again, C over G, A minor, G. Okay, so like I said, I believe that strum pattern will work throughout, but in reality, most professional musicians and artists will vary their strumming. Okay, so I encourage you to try that, but this would be a good just jumping off point for you, and may make it a bit easier to try to sing and play it at the same time. Okay, sometimes simple is better when you're trying to sing. Okay, so for the second solo, I'm not going to break this down note for note. I'm just going to give you some ideas to kind of think about and play with, and hopefully create your own lines and improvise ideas over this chord progression that's going on. So it's the same progression as the intro and as the first guitar solo. E minor 7, G, okay, then later going to the A7 sus4. So I want to show you how when David recorded his solo, how he was playing over each of these chords. So the first note is this B note, which is actually shared between both the G major chord, contains the B, and the E minor 7. Even though we don't see it in this chord grip, E minor 7 does have a B in it. So the B is a great note to just kind of lean into and just let sing over both of these chords. All right. So one way you could do that is just slide up to it from behind like this, or you could bend. Okay, he's got this lick here where he goes, okay, sliding up to high E to this D. Okay, D is another common tone between E minor 7 and G. Okay, so those two notes are great to emphasize and just let them ride. Okay, so he does a lot of that. There's this cool lick that he does. Okay, so that goes like this. It's B, A, G, F sharp, D, B, D. Okay, so that's coming right from the G major scale. It's got that F sharp in it, which is not inside the major pentatonic. Okay, then he does this quite a bit. That's sliding up to B and D and kind of letting those ring at the same time. And then when the A7 sus4 finally comes around, he'll take that same lick and push it up a whole step. Okay, and comes down to resolve onto this A note. So that's C sharp, B, A. Okay, so chord tones. It's all about emphasizing notes that are part of the chord that's happening at that moment. That's really the key to creating these kinds of lines. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. That might be a lot to kind of think about. But that's the whole song. All right. So Wish You Were Here. Great tune. Thank you so much for giving this a watch, and good luck playing and practicing. And I'll see you in the next one. Oh my goodness, it's still recording. Yeah.